Do you think there was a resemblance between Mary and Jesus, I mean? Do you think it was obvious to anyone who looked at Jesus that he was Mary's son? I do. After all, God did not just appear in her womb. The angel said she would conceive, that the child in her womb was taken from her flesh, her genetics. His Father, God the Father, provided miraculously the rest of what is human and the divine nature as well. So the face of Jesus must have resembled the face of Mary, probably quite strongly, if I had to guess. And the face of Jesus is important. Long before there was even a specific devotion to the Holy Face, a devotion we see in St. Therese of Lisieux's name. Her name was Therese of the Child Jesus and the Holy Face. Long before that devotion, even the ancient Israelites thought often of the face of God. Many verses in the Old Testament referring to seeing the face of God as something so profound it would cause death on the spot. Many verses refer to seeing the face of God as this powerful moment. And angels, when they would appear, had to tell people, do not be afraid, because they were expecting death. God encouraged this and even told Moses to only look at his back, lest he die. And yet right there at the beginning of the covenant on Sinai, God also indicates the glory and the goodness of his face. He commands the Levites, the ancient Jewish priests, to bless them with the specific formula we see in our first reading. The Lord let his face shine upon you. The Lord look upon you kindly. And the book of Revelation promises that those in heaven will look upon his face. Indeed, theologians have long described heaven as the beatific vision, specifically the ability to see God's face and live. What is it about God's face? Well, the face is a place of personal encounter. It's not about literally seeing eyes and nose and lips on a big old man with a beard in the sky. Not completely. It's about being able to enter into direct relationship with God, to experience him on a personal and eternal level beyond what we can imagine. Lovers gaze with joy into the face of the one they love, and we are destined to be able to do the same with God himself, as he already looks with love upon us. This is why it's so profound that God took on flesh. This is the octave, the 8th day of celebrating that mystery of the incarnation. God became man, took on a human face, so that mankind could look on the face and see God. And one day be able to see God face to face for eternity in heaven. But where did God decide to take that face? From Mary, his biological mother. Hence we have the title of this solemnity, Mary, Mother of God. So important that most years it's a holy day of obligation. Mary being the mother of God does not make her a God. It simply means that she really is the mother of Jesus, and Jesus really and truly is God. As I said at Christmas, either Jesus is God or we're all great fools and liars. The great debates of the early church included this debate about calling Mary the mother of God, Theotokos in Greek, and the truth won out. We should consider well the fact that God chose to have his face resemble Mary's, to learn from her, to keep these things, reflecting on them in our hearts. Mary, dearest Mary, bore God in her womb and lent her face to him. God, whose face is invoked in blessing, whose face can cause death and the sinful, is seen in part in the face of Mary. This is why Mary is the refuge of those who feel too ashamed, too sinful to approach God. She's not God, but she looks like him. She's not God, but God chose to endow her with the power and authority she could not earn on her own. God chose to resemble her, to obey her, to honor her, and to entrust her to his disciples. How could we not do likewise? How could we not look with love upon her face, ask her intercession, and guard her in our hearts and homes? Mary, may your loving gaze, your sweet face, lead us always to look with love on the face of God, your Son.